Welcome back to our podcast, Silent Issues. I'm Christina.
And I'm Tisha. I know it's been a while since we last spoke, but we're back. A lot has happened since we were last on. I finished my doctorate. Yes, yay! I'm officially Dr. Tisha. And Christina just had her sweet 16, so you know what that means. She got her driving permit. Woo! How does that feel, Christina?
It honestly feels great. I'm excited. I really want my license now, but it's fun to just be able to drive on the road legally now.
Well, you know what that means, right? More responsibility.
Oh, great.
Yeah, well, driving on the road is a privilege, not, you're not entitled to it. But not just that. All the responsibility comes with, not just driving, but now if you want a car, you got to pay for it. Pay for the gas, pay for the insurance. So now you need a what?
Job.
You have to get a job, goodness. And in order to get that job you have to have a way to get there. So it's just a vicious cycle of adulthood. I was just talking about this with Ty yesterday, well, in text quickly, about how adulthood is like, it's not all it's cracked out to be, with, especially when it comes to the money part, the financial part. Like my doctorate, having that, I owe more on my loans for my doctorate than I do for my house. So like that is crazy. It's crazy scary. So like now you have all this responsibility coming of, being a older teenager.
Yeah.
Think about it, 2 years.
Oh my gosh, you're rushing me already.
I'm not rushing you, but the reality is in 2 years you're going to be an adult in the world's eyes, even though you're still not probably mentally ready. How do you feel about that concept?
It's scary. I'm already thinking about college and where to pay for that and loans and just debt and all of that crazy stuff. I'm just trying to think about if I want to stay close to home and just stay home, or do I want to have that full college experience.
And it's crazy to be this young and have to think about that life.
I mean, no one's rushing me, but I wanted to be prepared so that when it does come, I can be ready and not be whoa, I need time.
Yeah, but that's the thing. No one's rushing you, but in reality, time is rushing you, because even though 2 years seems like a long time, it really isn't. 2 years will fly by and you'll realize real quick, oh, I didn't, I wasn't prepared for this. So many kids are not, but it's good that you're thinking ahead like that. But I know you, and I know you well enough to know that you don't want to do it. I'm not talking about the college stuff, but you don't want to do the working. You just want a car to magically appear with gas in it all the time and not worry about insurance. And that's not a reality. That's not what really happens. I mean, it can happen for some kids, but in reality, it's not for most kids. Your friends who have cars, you've seen them struggle.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into a car. I know that, but I just want to be able to go everywhere, which is probably not the best idea, because then I have to spend my own money, and I don't like to do that either.
And you got to have the money for the gas to go places.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, you got to have the time, because if you're working...
I don't have time.
And you do marching band, so your time is limited as it is. So you're going to see... I mean, I'm sure you see it with your friends. Don't they, because they do marching band too, and then what time do they have to actually go places?
Yeah, we don't have time in October. The only day off is on Sunday. Every Saturday I'm busy, and every day of the week I'm doing something. So Sunday is it's a reset day, so I can't really go out and do things, because that wouldn't make sense. I would want to reset, because it's my only free day. But I think after that, in November, I'll have a lot of free time, but I'll have to be working, so I can't really have free time. And then when I can't work, in January when I have the musical, then all I do is go to school and go home, and yes, I have to save up that money that I get when I can work to go out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because you got to have it in advance. If you know months you can't work, then you got to hope you find a job that's willing to accommodate that, because not all jobs are. A lot of fast food places, yes, they're more than willing to accommodate things like that, but not all places are. So you got, you have that issue there too. Another thing I just thought about that you can look into, not so much now, but next summer, or even, it'd have to be the summer because of you and your band, is working at a daycare. Working after, in the summer, going to a daycare and working there, because that's what a lot of teenagers do.
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely helped at daycares. When I went to daycare, I would help with the little kids and even passing out food and stuff like that. So I have experience with that. But in the summer, I'm really free in the summer, so I could do something like that. And I'm doing what's it called? The Big Brothers Big Sisters program, if I get approved.
So when do you find out if you were approved for that?
I'm not sure, actually. I think I find out sometime. She's going to email me because she still has to talk to Cora and my mom. I think she's talked to my mom. But I told her about like how I've taken care of Marky and I've been alone with the kids, so I have some kid experience, and she just wanted to talk to her to make sure I'm not lying, maybe, or just to get more information about that. But I'm honestly really excited though, because I mean I kind of get to be a therapist with them, which I don't want to be a therapist. I want to be a nurse, but I feel like having like experiences with kids one on one will further like let me know if I want to work with kids in the future or not.
Yeah, it all connects. Nursing, therapy, all of that, it all kind of connects, because no matter what field you're in, if you're dealing with people, you always are kind of their therapist. Ask a bartender, ask a hairdresser. They'll tell you they, hear all people's problems. Now, going back to the daycare thing, I was thinking when you were talking, it'd be full circle for you. Your karma will come back for all the bad little things you did when you were a little one. You'll have a little Christina to torture you a little bit.
No, that would be fun. Actually, I like dealing with kids, but
it'd be fun having a kid call her all these bad names.
It'll be different though, because I'm used to working with like my little cousins, so I'm not used to like having to not be rough. Like I can't throw Marky in the pool. No, I've never done that.
No, yeah, I think he's a little too little for that. I think if you did that, then you're gonna have some issues. People are gonna come for you. So anyway, what are you thinking about this new school year coming? You're going to be a junior, right?
Yeah, I heard it's the most toughest year, because like sophomore year you're still, I mean, like they say sophomore slump, so like you're obviously tired, but like junior year is when you have to make the college decisions and like your future plans, because senior year you're not really doing anything. You already have picked your college probably and you're just relaxing, but I guess this is the year where I have to actually, like these are the grades that determine where I'm going, so that matters.
These are the ones that the colleges look at.
Yeah.
And so, your senior year, it's not that you're not doing anything, but if you have done everything you needed to up until that point, your load is much lighter. You might be able to come into school later. You might be doing a co-op program where you're working.
See your experience.
Yeah, so it is a lot easier for most kids. Not for me when I did it, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, so you should enjoy your senior year, but that's the year you apply for colleges, but you'll at least junior year make those decisions of which colleges you want to apply for. So yeah, this is that year. So how does that feel with not just the workload, but then you also, like I said, you do you're in band and you do the musical. Do you ever feel like so overwhelmed from that?
Yeah, there's definitely times where there's like a long day I can think of, like when I have, on a Wednesday, if I had Pitt until 6, and then I had jazz from 7 to 9, I wouldn't leave my school, so I would get to school at 7, I'd go through a whole day, I'd have Pitt right after school, and then I'd eat, like maybe go to Penn Jersey and eat a little bit, and then I'd have jazz until 9, and then I'd get home at like 10, and then I'd have to, I usually didn't have homework last year because I didn't have a lot of serious classes, but if I did, I'd have to do that, and then I'd take a shower and like eat at home, maybe a little bit something, because I haven't eaten since like the time between jazz and Pitt and stuff, so that's a lot. And then I go to bed really late and I have to wake up early, because if I'm going on the bus in the morning if my mom's not taking me, I have to leave at like 6. I like to leave at like 6:30, which I know it's late to some people because others leave later, earlier, but it's still a lot to wake up from not a lot of sleep.
Yeah, that to me is like not just a work day, but it's like you're working 2 jobs kind of day. So at least that gets you prepared for adulthood, which sucks because that's what adulthood is, just basically getting up and going to work every day. And and that's why, guys, we haven't been on our podcast in a minute, is because we've both been trying to get our lives situated between her and band, and which, by the way, in 3 weeks you start
I do camp again in 3 weeks, yeah.
So she's gone then again, and then school starts in about a month, a little over a month. Well, for me about a month, for her a little over a month, and we're back to the grind. And I'm exhausted from a school day of teaching.
I'm exhausted
She
right
has
now
2
summer.
She has 2 full days in one. When I think about it, I couldn't do it.
And like there's days where like on a Friday, if we have a game, and it's an away game, and I don't go home from school because I decide, because we have to be at the school at like 5, and if I get home at like 2, I mean it's still a reasonable time, but sometimes I just like staying there and hanging out with my friends and going to Penn Jersey and getting food instead of going home. So then I wouldn't get home until like 12, because from 7 a.m. getting to school, staying through, going to an away football game, having to perform, having to play, and then getting change on the bus and coming home, it's like really tiring. And then I have to get to school, then my mom has to pick me up and drive me home. It's just this whole big day. And then, I mean, Saturday, you would think, oh yeah, you get a break the next day. No, I have to be, if it's a competition, I have to be at the park at 8 a.m., 7:30. It's like no time to sleep at all. And I mean, I didn't realize it because I usually don't get a lot of sleep. But then I go to my doctor and she's like, yeah, you should get this amount of sleep. I'm like, there's no way I can possibly get that amount of sleep. It's just crazy.
Well, I mean, it's known that teenagers don't get enough sleep. And that's a big thing, too, that they speak about in the medical field is that school should start later for older children and earlier for younger children. Because if you notice, they get up at the crack of dawn without being told. But because the way society's been built, a lot of the older children are the ones who have to watch their siblings sometimes or whatever, so they got to be home first from school to pick them up from the bus. And daycares don't open that early, so a lot of times parents can't drop their kids off the little ones off that early. So it's just a vicious cycle. But truthfully, you're not going to get enough sleep because your body is not engineered to go to bed early as it is. As you get older, yes, like for me during the week, I'm lucky to stay up by 10 o'clock is like super late. Like now in the summer, I stay up. I enjoy staying up. I've always enjoyed staying up for whatever reason. It makes me feel like an adult, like made me feel like, I have no bedtime schedule, I can do what I want. But when work comes, that's all out the door. And I hate it. I hate it that I feel like I'm on such a strict schedule. I hate it. I hate like the routine of getting up every day at the same time and doing the same things over and over. So like a Saturday, a Sunday, I almost like want to refuse to do certain things just because I'm like, I've done it 5 days this week. I'm over it. So I like, that's what I do appreciate about the summers with my job is that refresh time. But it's also hard because you're going back into something, you've been away from it for 2 months and now you got to go back. And like kind of like you guys, but I think it's a little different for teachers. Like you guys, you got to get to know all your new teachers, right? You have all that, but you have your same classmates with you. For us, we have to get new students every year and get to know them. By the time we build that good relationship, it's like April, May, school's almost over.
But I feel like for my school it's easier because I'm there for 4 years, so I know a lot of the teachers. So I have I had biology last year and I had Miss Tremblay and I have her again for chemistry in the morning, and I think that's great because I already know her, so we have that connection, and I think like we'll be right back into it. She knows who I am and like how things work, and I think that's amazing. But there are teachers that I know that I've never had that I could possibly end up having, which is nice too because it's a nice rotation. I like getting new teachers to get to know all of them because there's a lot.
Yeah, see, and I mean, I don't mind that neither, but the problem is, for me, especially as an 8th grade teacher, my students leave. I don't see them no more after that school year. They go to high school, so I no longer get to see how they're growing and maturing and reacting to the world. It would be nice to see that, like your teachers are seeing you from 9th grade all the way to 12th, so they get that experience. That's something I don't get per se in the 8th grade. When I worked in my other job and I had kids from 5th grade to 8th grade in one class, then yes, I could see it. Plus they stayed in the same building, so I saw that. So it was different. So for me, that's been the harder part of teaching, is building those bonds and those relationships with the kids, and then boom, they're gone. And I'm a person that likes to maintain a good relationship, especially if it was going well and I feel like I'm useful to that child's development. But it is what it is. That's just how life is. But it's that's where I struggle as a teacher, is because, like I said, I build those relationships and then boom, start again, next. And it's like, a lot of teachers like that though, because especially when you have the kids that drive you crazy. But even those kids that drive me crazy, I'm still going to miss them at some point. Or there's going to be a new kid that reminds me of that one, and I'm like, got this one again.
While we're on the topic of school, I was thinking I have a college class this year. During 4th block, I have English 101. And I think that it's a nice time because it's 2, so I get to eat lunch and then I go to that class. It's in the media center, which is also our cafe, and we have chairs there which are comfy, and there's quiet. It's always quiet, and you have to be quiet because there are people like doing that, which I think I picked the spring because I have a lot of time in the spring. I have jazz and the musical, but it usually ends around April, and even then I can still go home and have time. Like those double days are going to be hard, but I think that even with that, I'll have time in between those 3 hours or whatnot. I can get all that work done. And even if I think I am struggling, I know there's teachers in there that can help too. And I think there was this program, and it's like where you're in a classroom in my school, but the professor's on the TV and they're teaching. And I wanted to do that, but I wasn't able to because it didn't fit my schedule. Like, I had a different one that I couldn't change out of that. So that was a bummer, but I am really excited for that because I feel like it's going to teach me.
So yours is what? Because I know we talked about this, and that's what I thought you were having.
Yeah.
So how is yours? More independent study?
So I basically get work, and there's a due date, and I just have to do the work.
Oh, so yeah.
But I can like contact them.
Yeah, it's like an independent study.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, that's going to prepare you a lot for college classes that you take, if you take any online, if you do any online ones. Mm-hmm. Plus it teaches you responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think they put you in that room that you're explaining because it makes you feel a little bit more mature, because in college that's kind of, you have areas like that where you can sit and study and just focus or whatever. So it's good, and I think that's going to be a great experience for you as far as preparing you for what college feels like.
I like the concept of that because during my English class last year it was loud, and I'd always ask to go in the hall, and sometimes I would fool around in the hall, but mainly it was because it was loud, and when it's loud I can't focus. Like when it's quiet, it kind of forces me to think. And especially also from chewing gum, because that helps a lot with thinking for some reason. I don't know how to explain it, but like when I'm chewing gum and like it's quiet, I can actually focus and like think about it. Because if I read something and it's loud, my brain's gonna focus on like a thousand things at once. And especially if there's if it's a loud classroom, my brain can't focus like that. And when I listen to music, yeah, it blocks out the sound, but it's still lyrics, and that messes my brain up too. So I think that concept of having that quiet, like nice chair, like it's a comfy chair and you're in a quiet room but everyone else is also working on the same thing quietly, and there's also help. I mean, I don't like the concept of not having someone to ask questions because that I feel like I have a lot of questions, but I like the concept of having a quiet space for me to actually do my work, and a lot of time too, because it's like 70 minutes still, but I feel like it's a lot of time to do the work.
Well, two things you said that made me think. So one was about how you were saying about chewing the gum and the quiet. I do think that's a big factor is your ADHD, and the fact that all that going on is going to be distracting for you. Your brain can only focus on but so much. For me, it's funny. I need the quiet, but the gum chewing, I would actually hear that and not be able to focus. Mm-hmm. Music, lyrics, like you said, I don't know how kids do it. Some kids do really well with it, but like you said, I can't because that I'm hearing the song. It distracts me. But another thing I was going to say is when you brought up about not having a teacher there, it reminded me, you kind of got prepared with that last year with your honors class because your teacher was there, but he gave you mostly independent work that you had to figure out and do on your own. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's kind of like leveling you up and preparing you more. So what happens when you take this class, and if for some reason you didn't pass it, what happens with your transcript and such?
It'll say that I didn't pass, and I think that it's money wasted because I also have to pay for this class too, because it's a NAC, so the community college near me is offering these classes, so it's those classes, and I hope that they can transfer into the college that I go to, because then I won't have to take my prereqs. I'll just have to do that, and I think that'll help a lot. But if I don't think I'll fail. I think I'll definitely try my best, and if I feel like I'm not. Like, I feel like I'd rather leave the class than fail it. Like, if I'm in the middle of it, I'm like, this is too hard, I can't do it, then I'll ask them to leave. Because I feel like colleges...
And then what? They would put you in a regular English class?
No, I already have English, so they would just put me in a different class.
But, so you don't need another English class?
After this year, no.
No, but if you didn't pass that class, you needed to switch, they would just put you in a regular high school... English 4, English... Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm taking English 3. I was supposed to do honors, but I didn't. Because they didn't have the honors for first block. So I have English in the first semester, which is like the beginning to like January. I have English, regular English CP, which is going to push me back because I had honors last year. But I feel like also I definitely didn't work as hard as I should have in honors. Like I passed, but I almost didn't.
And I told you this as an English teacher. First of all, honors isn't all this cracked up to be. Really, in reality, all honors is a lot of independent work and a little bit higher level. But nowadays, honors is just for the good kids or the quiet kids. Mm-hmm. It's not even based on your ability level. And I was not coming at you, but I'm straight up honest with you. You were not honors material. If we really went through what honors was like back in the days when I was in school, or even maybe 15 years ago, honors was very different than what it is now. Now we just put kids in there. Parents fight to put kids in there because of them needing a quiet room and not being with the kids who are loud and obnoxious. But a lot of kids can't keep up with it because it is so, like, it's so independent, for them to do. So I think it's smart of you to do a regular English class, because in reality, for college, if all your classes aren't honors, they don't look at that. They could care less. Right. They're going to look at the grade, see if you're capable, and then they make you do tests to see where you're at anyway. So it won't matter. And that's what the thing that kills me is parents push and push and push. Oh, my kid is honors. No, a lot of your kids aren't honors in reality, because you are not really looking at what honors is. Sadly, we have lowered the bar on what honors is and what regular ed is. And these kids are like, you would be a typical, in my opinion, regular ed student, and then a lot of other kids who have the behavior issues and stuff like that and can't keep up with the work. Those are kids that are like below that, but we refuse to level kids anymore. So it's all regular or honors. And what happens is you have this cluster of kids who are not doing what they need to do with kids who are capable, and those parents are like, oh, well, my kid shouldn't be in here, they should be in honors, but they're not honors material. And it's like, even myself, like, I wasn't in honors, I was smart, but I wasn't considered honors material because of the fact that I didn't probably apply myself as hard. I missed a lot of school and things like that, but I know I was smart, but I never really stressed, oh, I need to be in honors, because honors just meant more work, harder work. It doesn't, if you're a person that's super smart and get bored easily in class and like the work is so easy for you, then yes, you're honors. But if you're getting 80s and 90s, that just means you understand the work, that you're doing a good job.
I had a history class, and I went through it, and it was honestly really fun. I learned a lot, and it was CP, and I know that a lot of my friends were in honors in that class, and they just told me that there was a lot of work, and they had a test with like 50 questions, and they'd do it in the 70 minutes we get, and they were so confused because it was so hard. And I was like, see, that's why I didn't do that class in honors, because I actually learned something in the history, like, and every day she was teaching, and I was understanding. I was like, okay, yeah, there were dumb kids in my class, like, not dumb, but like kids that fooled around and didn't get their work done. But honestly, it just made that was the only bad part about that class, and that's why kids do want to take honors, because the kids that don't do their work and just fool around and don't care about school are usually in CP. That's why honors is looked at as higher. But when I was in that class, I learned a lot, and I wasn't stressed. Like, I just walked in that class and I was like, okay, I'm ready to learn. I didn't feel the need to use ChatGPT or anything. I was just learning. I understood it, and I was like, wait, this is actually cool. And I ended up with like a 95 or whatever. And with my English honors class, I ended with a 70 because I turned the last assignment. He gave us like 3 days to do, and I turned it in late. And after he graded it, it went down. So it was like at 90, but he graded it and it was late, so it went down, which really upset me because I worked hard in that class. And sometimes, I would goof around, and that really bit me because...
But let's not forget that you also used AI.
Oh, yeah, I did use AI. But yeah, that was because I was so focused on just getting the work done, I didn't even want to learn anymore.
Okay, and see, that's the difference. You see, that's an important thing that you're saying, because in that type of class, in that setting, because it was too challenging for you. It wasn't that you weren't being challenged enough. It was too challenging that you just focused on getting the work done and you weren't learning. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like you said, your history class, you learned something. It was interesting because you were able to apply what you were learning instead of just doing and doing and doing. Mm-hmm. And using AI, honestly, is not learning. It helps you with certain things, but if you have it do the work for you, you didn't learn anything. And that's what, again, a lot of parents aren't realizing, because the kids turn in AI work to me all the time, and guess what? Your kid gets a 0 because they didn't put no effort into it. I'm not saying they can't use it to fix their work. There's always that, but not to turn it in. Not gonna happen.
How about new?
Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, silentissues.com.
Thanks again for joining us. We hope to expand our viewership, so if you like what you hear, spread the word. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.